Thank you, thank you. Yeah, super honored to be in front of you guys here tonight because I have a lot of respect for SEOs. And Chima, I had no idea some of the work that you've done with the nonprofit charity over the past few years, the donations and just the programming. I had no idea. So another round of applause for Chima, if you don't mind. That's awesome. Good to see. Now, honestly, guys, I know it's been a long night. This isn't going to be a technical talk. You already know a lot of the stuff in this talk. Matter of fact, if you have your notes out or your phone out, just write the word FREDA, F-R-E-D-A, and if you don't listen to the rest of the talk, you can walk out here and be absolutely fine. Now, everybody's talks tonight were incredibly insightful. John, you revealed a lot of gaps there in terms of things I didn't know with Curry fanouts, even though we actively track them at Moz as well. Nick, with the freshness, the sentiment, major clients always. I have a major agency client, household name, and their first approach, their first step in AI search strategy was identifying misinformation and sentiment. A lot of people think it's always about your visibility first, but misinformation. This is a huge agency. I was surprised to hear that that was their priority. What I'm gonna talk about, guys, is the fact that traffic and clicks aren't the same no more. Over the last 12 months at Moz as an enterprise account manager, I was able to retain $450,000 in the toughest period of search. How? How did me and my team do that? Especially as a vendor, when people are saying, you know what, rank tracking, don't really need it anymore. People are cutting contracts left and right. But why I'm here is because I couldn't bear to watch my clients, agencies, and brands struggle to communicate the value of their work upwardly to leadership and internal stakeholders and outwardly to clients. Because how do you communicate the value of SEO when the linear model for how we all understood it is now broken? Right, so I'm gonna give you a simple rubric, which is FREDA, that you can use in renewal conversations. And when these 5 behaviors were present, there was a renewal. I'm not saying they caused the renewal, but when they were present in 19 out of 24 contracts up for renewal, they led to renewal, which retained $450,000, right? So boom, we're gonna get into this now. This is gonna be all stories, guys. This is the vendor's POV of how we survived the last 2 years. Quick little disclaimer just for context, I live at the intersection of technical SEO, data, and revenue. I have to communicate the value of SEO every single day. All the talks that you saw tonight, you're gonna need them because you're gonna need a volume of different strategies and people revealing insights when they do those things. But those are not the conversations I have. I'm not an SEO. And even though this world this ecosystem right now is very unstable and ambiguous and uncertain, contracts are still getting signed. And they have to explain to people, like a law firm, top law firm out in LA, what's up with this pixel depth thing? If we get pushed below the fold, how does that impact the cases that are come through? Because we get charged as an SEO team on how many cases actually come through and get signed based on organic search, multi-million-dollar cases. I have to explain that, right? So very high-stakes environments. And I'm only gonna bring you guys above the surface because SEOs have no problem being down in the weeds. John, you took me there and I was spun around a little bit, but I was like, hey man, I know what's going on. But I'm gonna bring us back up and have this conversation again as someone who's in this space, right? Because it used to be this easy. I live in Ireland, country town. I could walk up and pet a sheep in 3 minutes, right? It used to be with SEO, you could explain SEO to anybody off the street if you gave them 30 seconds. All right, Farmer Bob, you got the best beef in the county, right? Why don't you create a website? Perfect. Traffic, Farmer Bob. People are coming to your website to look at what you got. 10,000 people, Farmer Bob. Well, that's all right, KB. That website's doing all right. You know what I mean? I think it's doing really good for you. 10,000 people, what does that show? You might have something that they're interested in. 10,000 people means that you got something they're interested in that they want to see. Clicks, Farmer Bob. People are clicking on your website now. Maybe you got the best beef for summer. You're gonna run this special for Angus burgers, whatever it is. You got the best Angus burgers. You create a landing page. People are clicking on a Farmer Bob. They want to learn more. And usually when people want to learn more, how's that journey end? With the purchase decision. All right, now Farmer Bob, 1 sec. Don't close your eyes. Magic trick. Poof. Just like that, Farmer Bob, who's not an SEO or marketing, the 2 things that he relied on to understand how his business is doing is gone, decimated. Traffic. I have clients this year who in global travel enterprise marketing brands who said, yeah, our traffic has been cut in half, 50%. Our clicks cut in half, 50%. Like, these are massive companies, guys. A lot is on the line. And I know I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I wanted to say, we always go joke in this industry, like, I'm actually really surprised when I see y'all smiling and stuff. Y'all are a happy group for what you've been, honestly, over the past year. But we always say, it's not brain surgery, like, it's not life or death. But like, we are in a very high stakes situation. There are jobs on the line, budgets on the line, reputations on the line. Business is on the line. You might know an entrepreneur who started with one shop, and now they were able to expand it over the years. That business is now on the line. If they don't get seen, if they can't get found, what are they gonna do, rely on foot traffic? Maybe if in a small town like mine. Anyways, right, so that's why I'm here. I'm obsessed with this question now. I'm like, how are you reframing this? Because you see metrics out there. If you go to SEJ right now, look at these exact articles, why enterprise SEO recommendations fail. I think it was Bill Grant. I think Baz, I don't know, but you guys definitely know her, wrote a piece with SEJ around how to report on uncertainty without losing credibility, where people are starting to bring in new metrics, right? New AI metrics, which is great. But let me tell you something. Farmer Bob isn't going to know what entity level scoring is or citations or none of that. He doesn't have time for that. So how do you explain it in regular language? FREDA. F-R-E-D-A. Show that. All right, last thing is that I wanted to put up here is just, I wrote an article back a year ago after my first time at Brighton, around this time, when I started to realize after talking to some SEOs that like the main issue wasn't necessarily gaming the system, but it was explaining it to people who don't understand that are in charge of money, right? And I wanted to combine two systems because I started off as a community worker. So when I come here tonight, I'm representing Moz, but like if you look me up honestly, I'm a community builder at heart, and you're people that need a little bit of protection right now, right? So this is the adoption, the innovation adoption cycle, right? That you guys have probably seen, you're probably familiar with some of those terms. And I combined it with this change management framework, ADCAR. So awareness, desire, knowledge, I don't know what the last A is, whatever. The last one is reinforcement, right? Basically saying at each phase of change, what do you need to progress to the next one, right? And what I noticed with a lot of my clients is that everyone is at a different part in their AI adoption phase, which is fine, right? But here's some of the things that we've seen, right? So large agencies that were on the frontier over here, they were quick. You know, maybe these are the folks that you saw, they busted out new AEO solutions. Profound was there, Peak AI is there. These are the people who are kind of leading the industry, right? They're innovating, right? You know who's there. There's maybe AI structuring, people are getting new roles, new promotions, content engineer, new AI workflows. I found that a lot of the early adopters had a lot of the early success, maybe just because they failed sooner. But that doesn't mean that if you adopted AI workflows or AI search solutions or AI services later on in the game, that doesn't mean that you're at a loss. My main issue, my main concern is just making sure you don't get stuck. Because how everyone here has proved tonight, all the speakers, it is something that you have to participate in. So that conversation a year later where we're like, is it for me, is it not? It probably is. And if it is, where are you on this adoption cycle here? What's stalling you? And how do you move past it? Okay, get into it. This is another quote from a decision maker that I really respect, one of my clients. Just basically saying, hey, we know AI is a thing right now, but how can we trust it? How do we integrate it? So very sophisticated operations internally, but still stuck on that question. I already told you guys about the stats here. I'm gonna run through a few stories. Again, these are just mini case studies. You can look at them on the slides, but you can look at me. I'm gonna share the stories as well verbatim. As it said there, 5 FREDA behaviors. When they were present, renewals happened. When they weren't, when they were absent, they often didn't. Again, and here's just some of the contract sizes. Again, you guys know how to do this. What I'm gonna reveal with FREDA, these are, again, and I'm gonna say this as well. This is one thing take away if you don't listen to nothing else. These are universally recognized and understood behaviors, social behaviors. We've known them since birth. They carry substantial semantic weight, right? When you're trying to meet a partner, how do you get them to buy into you and take a chance on you, right? To relate to you, to listen to you. All those things are things we do every single day, but they're underestimated in the corporate environment. What I'm telling you here tonight is when I went back to my transcripts and I was like, what did I do to maybe get these renewals? And I started being more intentional about it. These behaviors, like for example, I never made an explicit ask sometimes at the end of renewal conversations. Are you gonna renew or not? Does that sound good to you or not? I said, all right, Bob, well, talk to you later, because I was scared if I explicitly asked for the renewal, that gives them a chance to say no. Right? These are simple things that you guys can do that can change your agency and your professional's role tomorrow. I'm not joking, right? These are real numbers. All right, so boom, this is FREDA. AI likes to F up everything. Frame just means frame, R means relate, E means excite, D means demonstrate, and A means ask. So let's get into it. So here's the first story, frame, set the strategic context. This is a client, cybersecurity client. They were going through an acquisition late in the year. Great relationship with the point of contact, but he's going through all of this. His acquisition, he's now the head of his department. The procurement lane is frozen because of the acquisition. We gotta wait for that, and he doesn't have time to be in the tool or to respond to my emails, but his renewal's coming up. And he's not using his full capacity. He's outlined for 10,000, 20,000 keywords, he's using like 5,000, 10,000 left. So I'm like, oh my God, is he gonna view this as like a loss on value? So I set the strategic, what we did at Moz, because now AI tracking and organic tracking is looped into one, I said, hey, instead of viewing this as like a loss on value that your team's not really using anymore, why don't you use that free space to kind of do some experiments with what John was just doing, query fan out, long tail keyword tracking, those kinds of things, long tail phrase matching, those types of things. And he was able to renew. Right, another thing, just a quick story. Who here watches Netflix? Everybody, right? Who here likes Harlan Coben? No Harlan Coben fans? Harlan Coben, I see a couple nodding. We don't say it in public. We don't admit it in public. All right, Harlan Coben, mystery, right? So check this out. Me and my wife, every night, we're absolutely just knackered. We have a 3-year-old by the end of the day, right? Absolutely tired by the end of the day. But we always watch a Netflix film. She's saying, hey, let's watch that Harlan Coben one. Every time I see it flash by on Netflix, they're in a car chase. It looks super intense. I'm like, I'm not watching that. It seems kind of murdery for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about that. We finally commit to it because we love his writing. And the frame changes. Now I get the context. He's actually trying to go save his son. He broke out of prison. So his best friends from home broke him out of prison so that he could go save his son because he's actually innocent. Now I'm willing to invest. The frame changed. How often do you guys make sure that you and your customer, when you're having tense conversations in a very panic-driven environment right now, are speaking from the same frame? Right? That's one thing. Just a simple change, social change. You have all the technical strategies as well, but that's a social change that led to $13,000. All right, next one. Excite. Did I skip one? Relate. Oh, this is another guy that I was telling you about in LA, right? So he is one guy. He's not really in the platform too much. Doesn't have a big team of 3, all those things, right? But we have a great relationship. There's a little bit of silence this year around his renewal. I could tell that he was probably bogged down with things. He's a stat champion, so I set him up. His firm is actually, there's private equities looking to snap up some law firms, right? And they're using their AI visibility as a way to audit them. So I set him up with everything he needs without me asking. That's a teammate, and it kind of influenced him to buy in and say, hey, Kanaar, if we can set up these monthly syncs and you can help me out in this way, I'll buy in for another year. I didn't do anything. I just empathized with the situation. Now, I'm low on time because you guys got me feeling way too passionate, but we got Excite here. Again, what I basically did is we didn't have a feature for these guys that they really needed, so I went and advocated for them internally. I said, hey, if we can do this for you, this is what it would create. And you've got to couple the Excite part, right? You got to paint the vision right now. There's a lot of things that are uncertain. You got to paint the vision. No one's going to do that for you, right? This is meaning-making work. You got to demonstrate something tangible. So after you paint that vision, demonstrate one tangible workflow that shows them it's in reach. And then you have to make an explicit ask. This is a case study, right? This client had been with us for a long time, 7 years. There were some overages they weren't happy for. I said, hey, how about if you pay this very standard permanent fee for a certain part of your contract, and then we'll give you a discount on the bottom. It lowered their payment, increased TCV, total contract value for us. Everyone's happy. Right? So these are very simple social behaviors. FREDA, make sure you're speaking from the same frame. Relate, make the time to empathize. How does it impact the person you're talking to and their company? Excite, paint the vision. This is meaning-making work. Demonstrate something tangible and make an explicit ask, and your world will start to change, I promise you. I'm not the only one noticing it, so I take a lot of screenshots. I've been tracking this conversation for a year, and I can show you that everyone is saying we are skipping the meaning work right now. There are metrics coming up, but how do we fix the communication gap? I'm the founder of SEO Comms Clinic. What you can do is use FREDA to analyze an email. You can put in a transcript or just tell us a couple details, and we'll give you a FREDA analysis and a reply to go back. You can play certain games called Read the Room. This is the analysis that it kind of picks out to you. If you want to open up your phones right now, go to SEO Comms Clinic, SEO Comms Clinic, and you'll just have fun on the ecosystem map. Yeah, go app, ecosystem. Trust me, you're gonna have some fun. All right, I am here to make sure that you guys, you don't slack on your communication and that it's consistent, so that isn't a reason that revenue leaves your pockets. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Kanaar Bell.
You can just tell that